Hello. Welcome to Almost 80. I'm Bennye, your host. Now that you have rung the bell, come on in, have a seat, and make yourself at home. Hello.
We are back.
Yeah, we're back.
We've had a long break again, but I think that's just the way life goes sometimes.
Yeah, it does. It does.
It does. I think we've said this before, but
Seems like we say it all the time.
we do.
And we try to do better.
And we do our best.
Yeah. We probably need to change the phrase rather than trying to do better to doing better.
Doing better.
Yeah, we're gonna do better.
I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. How's your year been so far?
Good.
It's been good. 2025 is almost over.
Yeah, this year has gone by real fast.
It has gone by so fast. And you are 80.
I am 80.
Right.
You know, I thought I'd be done with this by the time I hit 80.
I know. That was our plan.
Yeah.
But maybe it wasn't quite what was intended. You know, there's more story to tell.
Absolutely. Yeah,
more story to tell. So today, folks have had a chance to hear some of your story about growing up in DeKalb and what it was like. And just to give people a sense of like where we're going with this show, we're going to cover a lot of parts of your life. And we're starting with the early years, but we're going to get through even your young adult years and what happened after your schooling and that kind of thing. But before we get to that, let's talk about your educational journey and, how it started. What were the things that impacted you the most? What are the things you remember?
Yeah, I do remember a lot.
I know you do.
Yeah.
You remember more than I do. So start from the beginning.
Well, and this part I don't remember, but this is what I'm told. That I went to school when I was 5 years old. I think Miss Johnson, who was the first grade teacher, had seen me someplace or something, and she told Mama, she said, I think she's ready to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
But the state law said that you couldn't go to school until you're 6 years old.
Oh, okay.
But I was 5, and she told Mama, she said, I think we're going to try her. Let her come on, and we're going to try her in first grade.
Mm-hmm.
And
because there was no kindergarten.
There was no kindergarten, no.
Right. So you started when you were 6 years old in first grade. Got it.
Right. And I'd like to just stop right here and say, I have a great-grandson right now.
Yes.
And he just turned 2.
Yes.
And this little fella knows his colors.
Yeah.
He knows animals and their sounds.
Mm-hmm.
He is talking like a big boy.
Right.
And I'm thinking that, things back then in 1940, whatever it was, when I was 5, 1950, right?
Yeah.
That we didn't have a good handle on how kids learned and when they started learning.
Right.
And I think that's why they had this six-year-old law, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so I went in 5th grade. Helen,
you went when you were 5.
When I was 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Helen, who was my mother's first husband's niece.
Complicated, ain't it? These are some complicated relationships.
Complicated relationships.
Okay.
But anyway, she lived down the road and we all walked to school. It was about 2 miles to school.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mama had gotten me up and gotten me ready, and she took me over to Miss Easter's house, which was my great-grandmother, who was 50 years old, and my great-grandfather was 90.
Mm.
No, he was 50 years older than her, so she must have been 40.
She was 40 and he was 90.
He was 90, yeah.
That's very interesting.
So she took me over there because she had to go to the field to work.
Okay.
So Helen picked me up from there, and I walked with her and some of the other kids to school. Yep. So when I got there, Miss Johnson welcomed all of us in, and, I felt great, I think. And, You
don't quite remember. But
I don't quite remember what all happened that day.
Uh-huh.
But what they tell me is that I was sitting up there and I didn't know the rules for the bathroom. I didn't know what to do about that. And she hadn't covered it, I guess. And it wasn't time to go because she hadn't said everybody's going to stand and go.
Right.
So I went on myself.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, the kids, they said, something's going on here.
Yes, they could smell you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Then Miss Johnson, she kind of called me up to her desk, and she told me it was going to be okay and everything, that she was going to get somebody to take me back home so I could change my clothes. So she got somebody to drive me home.
Yeah.
They drove me to Miss Easter's house, back to Miss Easter's house. we lived across the road from her, so she took me across the road, and of course, our house was never locked anyway, so she went in, found me some clothes, and got me
Yeah.
all cleaned up. But that was the end of my first try to go to school,
That was the beginning and end of it. One
the
day.
beginning and the ending, and then
Yeah.
they said Miss Johnson said, "Well, maybe she's not quite ready." So
Mhm.
I couldn't go back until I was 6 years old the next year, so I had to stay home a whole year.
A whole year. When
Yeah, yeah,
intellectually you might have been ready, but I don't know, socially it would have been it's kind of
yeah,
hard to predict. Like, were you ready? I don't know.
yeah. I'm not sure. I am not sure.
Okay, so you tried and you didn't quite make it, and
Yeah.
then you went back the next year. What happened then?
Okay, the next year I went and, she was there to meet me again and meet
Yeah.
all the kids, and she always welcomed us in. So I saw Miss Johnson, she brought us in, and they had those little tables that they had made for us to sit in, little chairs that the first graders were sitting in. School, I remember it being fun.
Hmm.
She did a lot of singing with us, and she did a lot of, we learned whatever the curriculum was, the ABCs, the
Mhm.
math or whatever. And we had recess and I met Joanne. Joanne
Right,
was my
right.
first friend,
Yes,
and
yes.
she's my friend
I
today.
was about to say she wasn't just your first friend. She's still
Yes.
your friend. She's still your
She's
best friend.
She's my best friend.
Yes.
We've been best friends all these years.
Yeah.
And, so anyway, we would run out to recess. When it was time for recess, we would go real fast to the top of the front of the line so
Mhm.
we could get on the seesaws and or whatever, and so that we could have a good time out at recess. So, we had to take our own lunch. We took our own little bag with some food in it. And mama would always tell us that when she went to school, they had like a little can a little, ah, some little can that they would take to
Hmm.
school, and they would put, like, syrup at the bottom and then to put biscuits on top so that the biscuits would soak into some of the syrup and butter and stuff,
Oh.
and then they would have a little piece of meat on the top, and that would be
Uh-huh. And
but
that'd be
we
their
took we
lunch.
took sandwiches, though. We
Okay.
had
And
to take
what kind of
graduate
sandwich did you have? Like, what kind of meat were you
we
using?
took a
Or
lot of bologna. Daddy would buy the whole
oh,
stick of bologna, okay?
yes, and
And
cut
then
it
we
up.
would cut it up, cut off slices and fry it, and then make
Yes.
sandwiches. Yeah.
Let me guess, you used to like your slice very thin
Very thin and
and
dark
crispy.
and crispy.
How did I know?
I did.
Okay, so this
Or
happened in first grade. You were getting acclimated to school. You had a new friend.
yes.
And what happened kind of after first grade?
After first grade, we were in the stucco building. Where we went to school, there was a big building that housed like 5th through 12th grade.
Okay.
And then there was one building that had 2 rooms.
Mhm.
One was a first grade room, one was a second grade room. So
Mhm.
we went to the second grade room after first grade, and our teacher there was Miss Catherine Vaughn,
Mhm.
who just died recently in the last year
Mm.
or so. She was
Mhm.
94 or something,
Wow.
she was upper 90s, yeah.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
As a matter of fact, she came to one of my 70th birthday
Your
party, if you
70th
remember.
birthday party. Yes, I do.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, I
Yeah.
do.
So anyway, in her room, her education was home economics. Her degree
Yeah.
was in home economics.
Mhm.
So one of the things she had up on her board was a sheet that had hair. She had our names on the left side. And then at the top, across the top, she would have hair, teeth, all these hygiene things that we needed
Mhm.
to do every day. And then she would
Mhm.
check us off every day to see if we had done all of these things.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I don't need this because, my mama was really clean and she
Yes.
made sure we were clean. We took a bath
Big
at
on
night,
hygiene.
big
Yes.
hygiene. And when we got up in the morning, we would wash off and, put deodorant on, brush our teeth. We did all those things. She combed our hair every
Every
single day.
day.
She was a
Yes.
girl. Yeah. And she
Yes.
combed our hair every single
Just like
day.
you combed ours every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
unless it was those days that dad would have to do it.
Yeah.
Oh my
Poor
God.
thing. Poor thing.
That was such a disaster, and I had long hair, and he didn't know what to do
Yeah,
with it.
to do it, and that's the
Mm.
same thing that happened with my dad when my mom wasn't early in the morning, and he would try to comb it would be all puffed up some kind
Oh
of
my
way
god.
and looking all wise and otherwise and crazy. Yeah, but anyway, so she would do that, and then she also, along with our curriculum, we still learned whatever the curriculum was for the 2nd grade, but one of the special things was that our school participated in an interscholastic league, which we held like regionally.
Yeah.
And they covered things like oratorial contests, singing contests, and things like that.
Mhm, mhm.
So Mrs. Vons would prepare the person who was going to do the poem
And
at
this would
our
be
school.
someone from a different grade, not the second grade.
No, it wasn't the
She
second
was like a
grade. No,
coach for
she was a
the older grade.
coach,
Mhm.
right? And the girl who was practicing, who was getting ready to do this, represent our school. I think she was from junior high. She was from a junior high.
Okay.
And she would come into our room at the end of the day to practice.
Mhm.
And as she would be practicing, Joanne and I, we always tried to sit near each other because we would be talking and laughing
Oof.
and carrying on back
I
there.
bet you all were a handful.
We were, and she kept saying, be quiet, be
Be
quiet.
qui
Then finally she said, if you can do better, come on up and do it. And why did she
And what
say,
did she ever say that to you
what did
for?
she say that to me for? And I said, okay. I said, I know it. And
I
she said,
know.
okay, come on up and do it. So I
Yes.
went up front and I said the speech.
The
Okay.
whole thing.
Yes, the whole thing.
And it was a speech or like a poem or like what were you
It was like
reciting?
a poem. It was a
Yeah.
poem. It was a
Uh-huh.
poem. And the name of the poem was The House by the Side of the Road. And it had like 5 long verses, and
Yeah.
each verse had 5 or 6 long sentences with words in it that I really hadn't heard before, but I heard it
Right.
while she was doing it, right?
Exactly. Multiple stanzas, all these things, definitely not appropriate for a second grader.
Right, not appropriate. But I got up
Right.
and I said the thing, right, with all the expression and everything, because I could hear how she was telling her to say it and she couldn't quite get it. But when I got
And
up
you
there,
sitting there like you learned
uh,
when she was correcting her, she might as well have been correcting you,
yeah,
right?
because I
Like you
learned
were getting the lessons. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I
I
was
got
getting
it.
the lesson. So I got up and
Uh-huh.
said it. And actually, I'd like to share that first verse with everybody,
Okay. All right.
just to give
Go
you an
ahead.
idea
If you
of,
feel like you can, go ahead.
oh, I feel
Oh,
like doing it. Let's see.
okay.
Okay. The first verse went like this. There are hermit souls that live withdrawn in the place of their self-content. There are souls like stars that dwell apart in a fellowless firmament. There are pioneer souls that blaze the paths where highways never ran. But let me live by the side of the road and be a friend to man. That was the first stanza. Yes.
So tell me what happened after you went up here and said this whole big long poem that you should
Well,
not have even known.
right.
Yeah.
First of all, I got a big applause from my classmates. And the girl who had been practicing, I mean, she was devastated
I mean, can you
because,
imagine though?
yeah, yeah, she was devastated. And actually, Mrs. Vaughn's mouth was open because she didn't know what
Right.
to say or what to do. So she
Right.
said, you did a great job, Ben, and now go sit down.
Go sit
But
down.
she knew she had to do something with that because I had really done a better job with the poem than the young girl who was practicing. Okay.
Oh,
So
goodness.
she talked to some of the other people and probably the principal and said, this is the issue that we have.
Yep.
She's only 7, but she can really say this poem. I can just
Yes.
imagine what she's saying to
Right.
him.
Right. This is just what you think
Yeah,
the
this is what
conversation
I'm
would have.
imagining. I'm
Yes.
imagining. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And so he said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to have a runoff in the auditorium. We're going to have the whole school there. And they're thinking that probably I would fold because I was only 7 and, this would be too much for me, right?
Right.
Well,
Right.
again,
Oh, honey, they had
well,
no idea who they were working
they
with.
had no idea.
Yes.
So we went into the auditorium and the girl went first and
Yep.
she said her speech and everybody clapped. It was really good. And then and I think that was by design because they, thought it would put a little fear in me, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Anyway, I got up there and I said this speech, and I mean, I really said it.
Yeah.
And everybody just went wild.
Yes.
And what happened was they had to tell the girl we're going to let her do it. So I represented the school at Hooks, Texas, is where which is about, I don't know, 20 miles away from where
Mhm.
we live. And there were a lot of contestants there. And there were like 3 judges in this one room where we
Mhm.
had to go and say our poems.
Mhm.
So I went in there all, like, yeah, I'm ready
Oh,
to do
yeah.
this.
Confident.
Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
I had to say, the name of the poem and who it was written by and all this.
Mhm.
And so I started saying the poem and I got to like the 3rd verse And all of a sudden, I kinda got mixed up with it, you know? And I
Mm.
started repeating a line from someplace else, another one of the other
Mhm. You
verses
were
or something.
substituting. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
But and I realized that, I was mixed up, but I did not stop.
Which
I
is
just
impressive for a 7-year-old.
I just kept going until I could
Yes.
straighten myself out, you know?
Wow.
And they didn't have the poem in front of them, so they
So
really
they
didn't
didn't know.
yeah, what I was
You
doing.
never let on.
Right, right. I just went on. And then at the end, they clapped. They said, "This is good." And I took away the prize. Okay. I won the regional contest. And the next step to this was going to Prairie View, which
Mhm.
is, Prairie View A&M College,
Uh-huh.
because then that's where the state was going to meet.
Right.
So I was
This was
going to
state.
compete at the state level at 7. Okay.
Yes.
So
So
went,
tell us about your trip to Prairie View, because I can imagine that maybe you hadn't really had a chance to do something like that. Or
no,
had you been to a college campus even or anything like
I
that?
had never been to a college campus. I
Mhm.
didn't know what a college campus was. I had never left D I don't I think I had left DeKalb, but I was very young, and
Right.
I don't
You didn't
remember
really
all that.
remember it. Yeah,
No, no.
exactly. Yeah.
But anyway, our yellow school bus took us down to Prairie View. Mama trusted me with whoever the chaperones were to look
Hmm.
after me and everything, so she got me a little bag ready, and she got
Yep.
some food ready for me and
Of
everything.
course.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course,
of course. You never send your child away with no
Uh-uh.
food.
Right, right. I think that's why I carry food all the time
All the
now.
time. Still feeding me.
I know. So we took this trip down. It was a long trip, it was like an all-day trip almost or something.
Hmm.
Once we got down there, they put us in rooms with some of the college girls. Okay. And I had to they gave me a bed in one of the rooms with the college girls. And they kept asking me, they said, "What are you doing?" Because they couldn't figure out why I
They were
was
like,
even
why
down
is
there.
there this little kid
Why
here?
is this little kid here? So they kept saying,
Right.
"What are you doing?" So I said, "Well, I'm saying a poem." And they said, "What poem?" I told them. Then they said, "Can you say it for me?" I said, "Yes." So I started saying it, and they said, "Oh my God." And then these girls, they took me all around. They say, "I want you to hear this little girl say this poem."
They paraded you all around the
They
dorm
paraded me all around
campus.
the dorm, and I just every time they say it, I would say it. Then when we went for the, competition, there were, there were people from all over the state.
Right,
So
right.
there were a lot of people there.
Can I
You
insert something really quickly for people who may not know the dynamic? So this is segregated South. So when you say regional and state, this was for the Black students of the state. Is this
Black
correct?
students of the
Right.
state.
I just want to make,
Yes.
because there may be people who aren't like familiar with like how things were run
Right, right.
back then, but this was a
Yeah,
completely segregated system. Hmm.
yeah. This was a segregated system. I went to an all-black school. Yeah.
Right, right. And all Black regionals and all Black
Er
states. Right.
yes, there you
State
go.
competitions.
There
Exactly.
you go.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
So then
Which was fine.
yeah, which is fine, which was good actually.
Yep. Yep.
And then when we got so I was ready and, my teacher, she said, "Benny, are you all ready?" I had put on my
Yep.
dress or
Yep.
whatever I
Yep.
was gonna
Yep.
wear. And I went in there and I said the speech. And I don't remember, I don't think I messed it up there, but
Okay.
I didn't take first prize. I was like number 25 out of I don't know how many hundred students
Yeah,
who were there,
yeah.
which really was
That's
impressive.
still a
It's
great,
still
yeah,
it's
great
great. Yeah.
result. So
Yeah.
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What impact do you think that experience had on you?
That impact had a great experience on me. First of all, I saw those girls there, and they didn't have their mamas or daddies or anybody telling them what to do, when to go, where to go, what to do, and all that. And I said, "Wow." I said to myself, "Wow, this looks
Wow.
like the life here." Yeah.
So much freedom.
So much freedom. And it was at that time that I decided I am going to college when I
Yes.
graduate from high school.
Yes.
Yes, I made
So
that
this
decision.
planted the seed for you.
It planted a
It,
seed.
it planted the whole plant, not
The
just a
whole
seed. It planted
Yeah,
the
yeah,
whole thing was
yeah,
done. It
yeah,
was done. Yeah.
and every day it was growing, okay?
Right, 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 right.
It was growing, because I remember in junior high school trying to convince seniors to go to college. I would say, "You should go to college," but, if people don't see the vision or don't
Yeah.
see how they can do it, then,
Yeah.
then they won't
Then
do
they're
it.
not gonna be able to go.
Yeah,
And not everyone had, I mean, most, I'm just gonna guess, didn't have the means, at least
right.
mentally, they didn't think they had the means
Right.
And in fact, didn't have the means,
Right.
to go
Right.
very
Right.
often. But
Absolutely.
you're lived in a community with a lot of people who just farmed and
Right. Right.
sharecropped, right? And
Right.
yeah. Okay, so you had this amazing experience and then you went back to school. And
We're
tell us
back to
about the
school.
rest of your elementary years.
Okay. Well, in fourth grade, what happened was they built a new school uptown, and it was built to house all the students from these surrounding areas, like the Bethlehem community where I went to school,
Mhm.
Oak Ridge, which was another community, Garland, and two other communities.
Mhm.
And it would house the black kids who lived uptown because they went to a school in town that was a
Okay.
black school. Okay.
Right. So they were merging all these schools.
They were merging all these schools. And when they
Mhm.
first started talking about merging the schools, they really started talking about building a better school in the Bethlehem community and letting that be the major
Be
school.
the school.
Uh-huh.
But then that was vetoed, I
It was
guess.
vetoed. There were people in town who thought, why should we go to the country?
Oh, okay.
That's
So this is a little bit of town versus country.
yes, yes. So
Rural,
they
like, yeah,
rule.
kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
anti-rural.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I can
Uh-huh.
see that. I can see
Yeah.
that. No, not realizing that they themselves were country too.
Right,
DeKalb is about
right.
5 blocks on a map.
Right, absolutely.
Right, right.
And actually when they built the school and when we started going there, some of the students, from what I understand, did not go. They dropped out of school totally because
Really?
they did not want to go to school with everybody else who had come to town.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding you.
And their
Yeah.
parents let them do that?
Apparently they did. Yeah.
Okay, isn't that I find
Yeah.
that odd.
And I think it was some of the high school kids who, because
Mm,
the school was first grade through 12th grade.
yeah.
And I think some of the high school kids, we're not going to school with these country kids. Yeah. Which
Isn't
means
it
they missed out. They missed out on
course
their
they missed out.
education.
Yes, they
Mhm.
did. Isn't
Yeah.
that interesting how humans these are people who are already living in a segregated world, right?
Right.
And it just shows you how, humans have a penchant for hierarchy and making themselves feel better than other groups, right? Like
Right.
somehow we are different, better, based on
Uh-huh.
language or
Uh-huh.
looks or appearance.
Uh-huh.
And they use this
Uh-huh.
false narrative that there was
Yes.
something wrong with people from the country.
Right. Right.
And then they
Right.
hurt themselves
Right. In the meantime.
to avoid having to be around them.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, that's a story in and of itself.
That is a story. Yes, it is. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So in fourth grade, so we moved to DeKalb to this new
Mhm.
school.
And
All
you
of a
caught a
sudden,
bus. You caught the bus.
we caught a bus
Okay.
because before we had to walk to school.
Mhm.
So now there was a bus coming through, and
Yep.
we caught the bus to school.
Tell me about the course of the day. You said when you were in first and second grade, you guys had a recess.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just wondering, did you like at this new school that was uptown?
Uh-huh.
Did you still have recesses? Did they have a place for you to play? Where did you eat lunch? What was
Oh
like the
yeah.
day to day like?
Yeah, we still had recess. We had two recesses a day and
Okay.
plus lunch. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had that through high school.
Which
Yeah.
is great. They don't do
Yeah.
that anymore,
Which is
obviously.
great, which is great.
Yep. Yep.
You could go outside, you could play ball, you could play, I think we had some maybe swings or something like that out
Mhm.
there. Some
Mhm.
things that we could play on or just be free out there talking to each other
Yeah, I was
and
about to
just,
say you just talk at that age.
yeah,
I
it's
mean, you
just
just
yeah,
right.
yeah. So that's what we did. And as far as the curriculum was concerned was like through elementary and junior high school, it was basically the same. We didn't have that much. We had a lot of English, a lot of math. We didn't have that much history class. We didn't have that many history classes. We had one woman who taught Black history, but
Mm.
she didn't teach it in a way that we wanted to even hear it. And even at that,
Huh.
and also at that time, we probably had so much self-hatred
Hmm.
that we didn't really accept it like we should have,
Hmm.
because we didn't believe that we could that we excelled. And she was trying to show us pictures of George Washington Carver and, some of
Yep.
these Booker T. Washington, some
Uh-huh.
of these people who had made it. She was really
Yep.
trying to inspire us. Of course, she wasn't an inspiring teacher either. She
Okay,
was
so
kind of
this is
dull. And we sort of took advantage of it. Like we'd be talking and, carrying on. She couldn't have, keep order in the classroom or nothing.
so you were acting like kids.
We were acting like kids. Yeah, we were
Uh-huh.
acting like kids. Yeah.
Mhm. What did you do for lunch?
For lunch, we went outside to eat on days that were nice.
Yeah.
And the other days, we ate in our rooms, actually.
And
And then
where'd the food come from?
we did have a cafeteria, and sometimes we go to the cafeteria, I think, yeah.
Mhm.
But the cafeteria didn't have a kitchen. So what they did was for the people who could buy lunches, they would bus some food over from the white school on the back of a dusty truck, okay? That would
Mm.
come to our school, and then the people there, a couple of people would serve it to the people who were buying it. But we never bought lunch because we didn't have the money to. We always carried our sandwiches from home. And mama would give us a nickel or whatever to get milk to go with it.
And could you get water if you just didn't want the milk? Like,
No, we had fountains, so, you could get water from a water fountain.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. And then there was a lady who lived next door to the school. She was Odessa's aunt, I believe, and she had like a little she would fix hot dogs, and if you had the money, you could go there and buy it because it was, like,
Oh,
almost right on campus, but you
yes.
could go there and buy it, but we never once or twice, I mean, I had the money. It was like 15 cents, I think,
Okay.
was a hot
You
dog.
remember that, 15
Yeah,
cents.
it's 15
Yeah,
cents. So you
yeah.
could go there and buy a hot dog. She would put good chili on it, and if you
Oh,
wanted
like literally a chili dog.
yeah,
Okay.
chili dog. Yeah, you have a
Yeah.
chili dog, and it would be
Okay.
hot and everything. It was
Oh, yeah,
tasty.
good.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
was good. Yeah,
That is a
yeah.
great memory.
One of the other things that happened at our school is that every Friday we had a chapel program where
Yeah.
all of the school gathered, and they rotated the classes to go on stage to put on a program. We started every program with the Black national anthem, the Negro national anthem, "Lift
Right, which
Every
is what was
Voice,
called at the time. Yeah.
Lift
Yeah.
Every Voice and
Uh-huh.
Sing." Yeah, and then we would do the pledge. And the only time we did the Star Spangled Banner was, like at graduation or something, if the white superintendent or somebody was gonna be there, then we would do that.
Hmm.
Rather than the Black national anthem, the Negro
Understood.
national anthem,
So you
yeah.
know all the stanzas,
Oh, yeah, I did
of
at one
course.
time anyway. Yeah, I did,
You
yeah.
don't remember? You don't think you remember?
Yeah, I
I
do,
bet you do. I've
really.
heard you sing it many
Yeah,
times.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I thought
Okay.
but that was a really good experience for all of us because we got a
Yes.
chance to go on stage. We got a chance to build up our self-confidence.
You and I have
Uh,
talked about that a few times. Like, what was the role of church, right, in the Black
uh-huh,
community, and why did so many Black leaders come out of the church?
uh-huh.
First of all, it was one of the secure places for our humanity,
Right, right.
right? Like, we could express our full humanity within the context of the church. It was one of the few places in our country where we could do that. But the other part was that children were put on stage, whether it
Uh-huh,
was Easter, you had to say your Easter speech, you had to get
uh-huh.
up there and, a whole group of people were urging you on and encouraging you.
Right.
And so it sounds like this Friday, you called it a chapel. Now, was it Christian based or was it just a get
It
together?
was not Christian-based at
Okay,
all.
okay, because you
No.
called it chapel, but I was wondering whether or not
Yeah,
it was maybe just the
yeah,
auditorium, like a school kind of
yeah, for some reason, I think we called it chapel. Maybe we
interesting.
did. I'll have to ask somebody else.
Okay, but there was, like, no
Yeah,
prayer in it and, like, no Christian
no
songs or
prayer
anything.
and then no Christian songs at
Okay,
all. Yeah,
okay. So
yeah.
you could be any religion and still kind of participate
Absolutely,
in this
absolutely.
activity, especially, like, without feeling,
Right,
kind of cast aside.
right, right,
Okay,
right.
but that's
Yeah,
really cool. That's really cool. I really do. You hear a lot of people saying, the Black church was so meaningful, but I really think it was the breeding ground in so many ways
uh-huh.
for leadership and leadership skills and
Right.
public speaking and all these
Public
things.
speaking and all these, yes.
Yeah, super important, super
Uh-huh.
important.
Yep.
Okay, so you've described, I think we're probably at middle school.
So in middle school, I kind of blossomed. My music teacher wanted me to be in the band, which was really like a high school band.
Hmm.
And she put me in the chorus, the high school chorus
As a junior high student.
as a junior high school student. And
Hmm.
I also sang in the octet, which is like
Octet.
octet. There were two voices for each, two
Each
sopranos,
part.
two
Hmm.
altos for each part. Yeah.
Yes.
So I was able to carry the soprano part, and so she
Of
always had
course.
me there. Yeah.
Of course. Hmm.
So and we still went to some of those competitions,
Hmm.
singing this time.
Okay. Yeah.
So our
And so did you
octet,
ever get back to the state on doing this?
trying to think. I think we did. I think we did go to the state once.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Nice. Do you
Yeah.
remember any songs that you sang?
I don't remember a
Not a
single one.
single one.
Not
You've
a
sung
single one
so many songs in your life.
in my
I would be
life.
shocked if you remembered any of those octave
On my
songs.
in my life.
So you
Wow.
were doing both singing and you were playing instruments, sounds
Yeah, I
like,
was
in the
playing
band.
instruments.
And what were you
And
playing?
okay, I learned how to play the trumpet. I learned how to play the tuba, which is, a bass horn. And she tried me on the saxophone, but I didn't take to the
Yeah,
saxophone too much.
didn't
So
work.
that wasn't my instrument.
Mhm.
And she also taught me how to play the bugle.
The bugle,
The
of all
bugle.
things.
The
Yeah.
bugle. So, and I think the main thing with the bugle is that she wanted me to learn how to play taps so that when is it? November 11th? Is that
Veterans Day.
Veterans Day?
Uh-huh.
Veterans Day. We
Yeah.
always went outside near the flag, okay?
Okay.
And we had like a little ceremony there.
Nice.
And I would play the taps.
And you play the taps.
Yeah, I would play the taps.
That
And
is
on
quite
the
nice.
bugle, there are no fingering. There's no
Yeah.
fingering.
What do you call it? Valves? There are no
Valves.
valves?
Yeah, there are no
Mhm.
valves for the changing of notes or anything. So
Yes.
you literally have to change the notes within your mind, and you have to adjust the air that's flowing through in order to do that. So it's the concept that you have to get, in order to do it. So I was able to do it. Yeah. Dun,
Sounds
dun,
like a concept
dun,
of a
dun, dun,
plan.
dun. Yeah. Concept of a plan. Oh
I
God.
love that for you though, that you had all these interesting experiences, you know? And okay, of course, I mean, I've lived with you my whole life. You're my mom, and I've always seen you thrive on stage. You
Yeah.
thrive on stage. And it's funny because Sean says the same thing about me that
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
that I shine on stage, or that
Right,
I light up,
right,
basically.
right.
But I have definitely seen that in you. And it started early.
It did, it
It
did.
started really early, and your community kind of propelled you in so many ways, right? Different
Right.
opportunities, playing instruments, singing. We haven't gotten to sing. Most of the audience has no idea what kind of voice you have and we're gifted with. Just truly amazing. But I just love this that your
Yeah.
childhood has so much of this.
And one of
It,
the other major things in high school was our home economics teacher. Now,
okay.
our home economics teacher was Mrs. Vaughn, the same woman who taught second grade
Oh, that did the
down at
poem.
Bethlehem that I did the poem with.
Uh-huh,
Right,
uh-huh, uh-huh.
right. She was amazing. She was an amazing home economics teacher.
Hmm.
She taught us so many survival skills. She taught us not only how to cook a full meal and serve it,
Mhm, mhm,
with all the right utensils and the
mhm, mhm.
glasses and all this. I mean, you would think that we were in England or something and,
Right.
that we were getting
Right. You
ready
know how to
for
set a table
we were
formally and
getting
all.
ready. Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
And she taught us how to make a bed, because then you only had sheets. You only had top sheets. You didn't have a fitted
Oh,
sheet. There were no fitted sheets in the world that we knew
yes.
of,
That you knew
okay?
about, right.
That we knew about. So she taught us how to tuck the sheets in a way that it fitted like a fitted sheet,
Yes. I
okay,
think you actually
on
taught
the
me how to
bottom.
do that. I
Yeah,
think
I
you
think
taught
I
me how to do
did.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And she taught us how I made a baby, like for a toddler coat that was lined. I made that. I made pleated skirts with zippers in the side. I made drapes that had the hooks that you put the hooks
Yes,
on. They
those
would
little
lie.
pleats, like
Those
little
little pleats,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
So we made that. We made so many things. I mean, it was unbelievable the things that she taught. She even taught us how to write a check, how to do a checkbook because my mom didn't, they didn't, I don't think we didn't have a bank account.
Right,
Okay.
right,
And so I had never seen checks before.
right. So she
Okay.
taught you this
So
life skill.
she
Mhm,
taught us how to write checks. She taught us how to do a budget. Like once you're out on your own and
mhm.
you have a family,
Yeah.
she said it seems like to me she said 25%. You shouldn't pay more than 25% for your housing, something like that.
Is that the number that people
I
still I don't even know.
I
Is
don't
that
know what
it?
they use now. I
It
don't know what it
sounds
is.
right to me. I mean,
Yeah.
you definitely don't wanna spend much more than that.
Yeah, but she was saying, well, you shouldn't spend more than 25% of your
Mhm.
budget on housing. And, she broke it down into like food and all this stuff and, how you should do money. And it was amazing what she taught us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it
is
was great. It was great.
that is amazing. Let me ask you this. Did you have any students that, went through this educational path with you? who needed extra, like needed different things, because now we have special ed and we have all these different areas of education, honor systems, all these things. Did they
Uh-huh.
have like separate ways for people to be educated depending on their needs?
No, we did not. Everybody was mainstream. Everybody
Okay.
was in a class.
Hmm.
And I remember one fellow in our class, he was in our class from, I guess, 1st grade all the way through,
Hmm.
who had a learning disability.
Hmm.
And all of us tried to help him. I remember one day just before lunch or just before recess, I was helping him do something. And I said, this is how you say it. This is what it means, blah, blah, blah. And he seemed like he had it, and he was so happy. He said, "Oh, I have
Yeah.
it, I have it, I have it." So we
Yeah.
went out to recess, and when we came back, the teacher was so eager because I told her, I said, "He's got it.
He's got it. Yeah.
He's got it." And then when she said, "Okay, come on, tell me, what is it?" And he couldn't remember. He said, "I don't
Oh,
I don't know."
yeah.
So this is the one person that I remember who had a learning disability.
Hmm.
I mean, everybody in class had different levels of learning,
Right. Right.
different abilities or whatever,
Yes.
but this is the only person that I knew who basically it seems that he couldn't learn and nobody knew how to help him,
Yeah.
so
They did the
th
best they could do.
did the best they could do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then you were done. You were about to graduate. And so what
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah. Well, there were people who came from Prairie View to, try to recruiters
Yeah.
who came from Prairie View to recruit students and who came from Bishop. I remember those 2 schools that they came to recruit us, and I was impressed with Bishop.
Okay.
It was closer to home,
Yeah.
because it was in Dallas at the time. It
Right.
had moved from Marshall to Dallas,
Mhm.
and, they had a new campus. It was a new campus also. I could catch the bus there and back home,
Okay. So you have
but
transportation, like options.
transportation,
Yep.
yeah, I could see my way through there. But Prairie View, it was like 40 miles outside of Houston, and it seemed far and, it just it wasn't for me. So I
It wasn't on
chose
your radar, even though
no,
it
what
was the place that had put
it was the
college in your
place that
heart.
had put college in my
Mhm.
heart,
Yep.
but I didn't think I could go there. Plus, all most of the students from my school who went to college went to Prairie View,
Including Miss Joanne, right?
including Miss Joanne.
Yeah.
Yes,
So your
yes.
best friend, you and your best
Uh-huh.
friend
Yeah.
separated at the
Yeah.
point of college. Yep.
Right. But
Yep.
I decided and I think also I had a notion that I didn't have to do what everybody else did also.
That is not a shock to me.
Yeah.
That you were an independent thinker. Not at all. So, did you get accepted?
I did get accepted. I, applied, and I think
Okay.
Lloyd Hall was his name. He came to recruit, and I think he had applications with him. And if
Okay.
I'm not mistaken, I think he helped us fill them out. I'm not even
Oh,
sure if I took them home.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think I told mama about it, that I had applied,
Mhm,
that this
mhm.
guy had come, and he had taken the applications back with him to submit it to Bishop.
Okay, yeah,
And then I got a letter in the mail saying that I was accepted. I think
that's
that's how
amazing.
yeah, I think that's
That's
how it went.
amazing. And so we are getting close to the end of this, and so you tell us what happened next, and then we'll pick this up next time.
Okay, well, at the end of my senior year, I realized that I was pregnant
Yeah.
and that I would not be able to go to college that fall. And
How
so
did you manage that?
well, my mind was still on college. I just didn't know how it was going to work out. And what happened was mama told me, she said, well, I will keep the baby and you can go to school. And what I did was I would come back and forth as often as I could. And I came back in the summers, most of them, and worked near there so that I could help take care of her and see about her. But if I had to take her with me, I was going to figure that out because
Okay, so for you, this was like college is happening.
college is
I don't
happening.
know the
I don't know how,
details.
I don't know the details,
Yep,
but it is going to happen.
your mind
Yes.
was made up. Okay,
Uh-huh.
okay.
Yes, my mind was made up.
Well, it seems like to me we have covered a lot of territory.
I know, I know.
I know.
Yes.
I appreciate you sharing your story with us.
Yeah, and I thank you for helping me dig it out.
Oh, it's
Thank
my
you.
pleasure. It's my honor. All
Yeah.
right, folks. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see you later, alligator. Bye.
After a while, crocodile.
Okay.